Yes. What a Guampan campus. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another show. Wow, it's such a good privilege to be able to, meet with you, talk with you. For those of you who are on the live stream, thank you so much for being on. I am Jonathan Fletcher riding solo this week. Unfortunately, Anesta cannot join us, but the show must go on, right? And so we are continuing the topic, staying the course. So we did part one last week, but we're doing part two this week. But before we get into the niceness of the show, we'll have to tell you that, Campus Connection is brought to you by Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is power. And we're going to take a word from our sponsor right now.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
We are in campus students are bright.
There you have it, a word from our amazing sponsor, Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is indeed power. And so remember, I just told you that we're staying the course with the topic, stay the course. This is the second in the series. Last week we had such a thought-provoking conversation, and we want to continue in that same vein. But before that, we'll have, of course, education, news, and bulletin. Then we'll have Honor Roll with Princess Ford, founder of the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative. That is going to be quite interesting. And then we have I Chose Christ by Z. Roberto Pasco from the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, UCC. And we go into our main segment with Miss Kadian Gentles and Mr. Paul Park as they share about their teaching journey, right? So, in the context of education, we want to really explore what staying the course means, but we know that this generally refers to maintaining a consistent and effective educational approach, curriculum, or teaching method, even in the face of challenges or changes. And I know teachers listening to this program right now, principals, guidance counselors, persons who are in the educational sector, when I said even in the face of challenges or changes, I'm sure you definitely can relate to that bit right there. Talk it truth. You can relate, don't? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I know. And I really want to add yet again that I understand that the educational sector is not an easy one to work in or even to work with, because things and times have changed drastically, if you will. Students are quite different than they used to be. A lot more outspoken, a lot more forward, a lot more, robust in how they carry themselves, in how they present themselves on a daily basis. So I can just imagine the challenges and the changes that teachers, especially those who have been in the sector for a number of years, the culture shock, if you will, that they have been experiencing, the shock as relates to them comparing now versus then, right? I can just imagine. I really can just imagine what that is like. So we want to explore that some more. As I said earlier, it's in the course part two. So we want to really give our teachers an opportunity to share how they feel. But not just our teachers. I want to hear from you too, our listeners and our viewers. You can send a WhatsApp message to 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Or you can comment on our live stream on Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. And the question I'd want to ask, because I want to bring in the conversation, right? Yeah, man. So why should teachers continue in the profession despite the challenges they face? So that's the question I want to ask you this evening. Why should teachers, with all the things that they're experiencing in the classroom, out of the classroom, why should they continue in the profession even though they understand the challenges that they face on a daily basis? So I wanted to chime in 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125 on WhatsApp. Please share your thoughts, share your opinions on the matter. And of course, you can send your message or your comments rather on our live stream at Love 101 FM Jamaica. That's Love 101 FM Jamaica. We are currently live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on TikTok. So we want to definitely hear from you. All right. So right about now, we're going into our education news and bulletin, and this will be done by Camille Lawrence, campus consultant.
Education and News Bulletin for Tuesday, April 8, 2025. The Heart NSDA Trust has provided skills training for 552,534 young people since 2020, says Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Senator Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon. These programs have opened doors for those who once believed their dreams were out of reach. And with the elimination of tuition fees in 2023, we saw more and more students deciding, let me go to Heart. Let me get that skill that I have always wanted, Dr. Morris Dixon said while contributing to the debate on the appropriation bill in the Senate recently. The Jamaica Fire Brigade, JFB, has expanded its fire safety initiative to include high schools across the island. Building on the Fire Wardens Club in Schools program, the JFB is now training high school students to serve as fire safety wardens, empowering them with the skills to lead and respond to emergencies. We are not launching clubs in the high schools. We are training safety monitors or fire safety wardens, as we sometimes refer to them, said the Commissioner of JFB, Stuart Beckford, during an interview with the JIS News. The St. Jago Interschool Christian Fellowship, ISCF, invites you to their ISCF week starting on Monday, April 7 to Friday, April 11 under the theme Walking in the Light. April 7 will begin with a general devotion with a guest speaker. April 8, ISCF Trivia. April 9, Midday Prayer. April 10, General Devotion featuring Jonathan Grant High School, and April 11 will end with a grand gospel concert. We hope to see you as we champion our motto, to know Christ and to make him known. The Michael University College presents Michael Week 2025, April 7 to 11, under the theme Leading with Integrity, Impact, and Innovation. April 7 will start the launch of Michael Week with a General Assembly. April 8, Research Spotlight and Luminary Session. April 9, Sports Day. April 10, Student Awards and the Glenn Owen Lecture. April 11, Founders Day Thanksgiving Service, Alumni Luncheon, and Guild Fest. Jubilee Worship Center School Missions presents Inter-School Worship Experience with dance, drama, breakout sessions, word, and a special guest artist. That's Sunday, April 13 at 9 a.m. at the Jubilee Worship Center, 36 Valdez Road. That's the education news and bulletins for Campus Connection. I am Camille Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Camille. That was education news and bulletin by our campus consultant, Camille Lawrence. All right, so we're going straight into our special interview or honor roll interview with Princess Ford, founder of Whistle Alert Jamaica. All right, so she's a dedicated children's rights activist, passionate about child safety and education. Currently pursuing studies in education, she's committed to creating safer environments for children. She's the founder of the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative, a safety initiative inspired by a family tradition of passing down a whistle for protection. Sorry. This initiative focuses on equipping children with whistles as a personal safety tool while educating them and their guardians on its importance. In August 2024, following Hurricane Beryl, the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative hosted its first back to school outreach in St. Elizabeth. The event provided over 50 children with whistles, educational pamphlets, and care packages for their parents and guardians. The initiative also offered motivational talks and safety education. Continuing its mission for the new school term of 2025, the initiative distributed additional whistles, school supplies, snacks, and beverages to support children as they return to school. Princess remains dedicated to advocating for child safety and empowerment. Princess, good evening. Welcome to Campus Connection.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for being here
Sure.
with us. So, when you hear Whistle Alert Jamaica, I'm sure our listeners, our viewers, even though I read a bit about it just now, what can you tell us about Whistle Alert Jamaica that we haven't heard already?
So it's really the Whistle Alert Jamaica. As you said, it's really the name. So the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative is an initiative that aims to safeguard the well-being of our nation's children by providing them with whistles to use in case of any unforeseen circumstances. So once you hear a whistle, it means it's really to alert anyone, a passerby, that to look where you hear that whistle blow. So yes, it can be used if there's a special needs child and they're in a situation where they can't speak for help verbally, they can just blow that
Mm-hmm.
whistle and to draw attraction to themselves. Or if it's in a case of bullying, a child can use that bully to also draw attention to themselves. Or if a child is lost, they can also use that whistle to bring attention to themselves as well.
That is absolutely amazing. And the slogan that you guys are using is putting a little power. I want to pause right there at that word poor because a lot of times our children, you will see them on the roads, right? Unsupervised, all of that. But the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative is trying to put a little power. Talk to us about that power.
So that they can have the power in their hands. So the power would be
Mm-hmm.
the whistle. So the whistle is
Yes.
giving them the opportunity and the power to, if they can't use verbally, they can use this whistle.
Mm-hmm.
The next power, the next tool to draw attention to themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
even so, as we said, the putting a little power in the children's hand, so that if they're in any situation, they can blow the whistle for, if even if it's a passerby. So like for the hashtag says just look. So if they're in say for instance a child blows a whistle out of just blowing the whistle for blowing the whistle, say because children will always be children,
Just
is for
look.
them to just look. Just look. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it would take anything for you to just look.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you hear a whistle blow, you just look. So that will let them know that there's a child within this area at this certain time. So at least that will help them to know that yes, they should look.
So, Princess, the reality is that as a young lady, there are a lot of things that you could have been doing outside of this. Why did you see it important to do something like this in
Because
Jamaica?
in Jamaica, hopefully will be expanded. But first for Jamaica, it really, as you mentioned in what you read initially,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's because it was my mother had this whistle and
Mm-hmm.
she gave it to my sister, and then my sister migrated and she gave it to me. So I'm currently in Jamaica. So I think for me to, when I had that whistle, when I was given that whistle, it allowed me to feel safe and to have the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to use that whistle. So it can also be used as a,
So you want to pass that whistle figuratively
yes, down
into
to
the
the
hands
children.
of other
Yeah, to have,
Jamaicans.
yeah, to let them also have the opportunity to use the whistle as well.
That is very inspirational. But based on where you are, because you're pretty young, Princess, right?
Um,
I don't know if you want me to share your age.
no
But
problem. Sure.
all right, so as a 22-year-old young lady, right?
Mhm.
You got the whistle from your
Mother.
sister who, well, from your mother who gave it to your sister, then gave it to you.
Yes. I can
Um,
even show you that whistle too. It's actually 40 years old.
wow. I'd love to see it actually. I'd love to see it.
This is so sweet.
Um,
As you
wow. So
yeah.
for Redelan who is listening, no, hold it up so I can
Okay.
describe it for Redelan. So it's well, that looks like metal. I'm
Yes.
not sure.
Yes.
Okay. It is pretty dated, if you will. So you
Yeah.
know it's really coming down from generation to generation.
Yes.
Absolutely powerful. We have to pause right here for a quick commercial break, but I
Okay.
want you to stick and stay with us here in our honor roll feature on Campus Connection. Stick and stay with us for more.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Sonia's Homestyle presents Old Time Gospel Fest, April 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Sonia's Homestyle Restaurant, 17 Central Avenue, Kingston 10. Enjoy performances by Luba Eby, Rhoda Isabella, Harry Sales, and more. Master of Ceremony, Leighton Smith, and backing band Full Spectrum. Tickets now available at Sonia's Homestyle for $6,500 all inclusive. Proceeds in aid of Helping Hands Foundation. Get your tickets today and see you soon at Old Time Gospel Fest. Keep career options open for local and overseas job opportunities in the booming hospitality and tourism industry with City and Guilds and ABE and Growth certification at Distinction College. Start online and face-to-face classes very soon in a career of high demand for workers globally and get certified in housekeeping, food preparation, waitering, travel, tourism, and hospitality. Bartending and mixology, customer service, call center, cake baking and decorating, airline ticketing, no subjects required, no age limit. Register this week and get an additional course for free. Call Distinction College at 876-356-4167 or 354-8560. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Ocean Rios Online or St. Elizabeth.
We are the campus nights. Students just jump up in a fright. Yeah.
Welcome back to Campus Connection. You're inside our honor roll feature right now, and we're speaking with Princess Ford, founder of the Whistle Alert Jamaica Initiative, a 22-year-old young lady who is really trying to make our children safe. Right, with the whistle, I find it so intriguing, the Whistle Alert Jamaica, right? And what I wanted to get to, Princess, based on where you are now and the different initiatives that you are doing through this foundation, how can persons get involved to really help to push this even further?
We have our Instagram page. You can reach it at the Whistle Alert Jamaica. It's on Instagram. That's where you can find us on. Oh, there's also a number connected that you could reach out to us on WhatsApp.
So explain it to me now. Is it that you are handing out whistles? Well, explain the actual mechanism behind it.
Yes. So because we also had our first back to school outreach and treats last August post Hurricane Beryl. So we actually, this is the package that we actually packaged whistles, educational pamphlets, and we also gave it out to over 50 children. So even though we will still see children on the road, and where we see children at all, we always walk with whistles to distribute and to give to each child we see and tell them how to use it. If they're with their parents, we tell the parents this is how the child should use a whistle, and we love to distribute them, so we just give them all.
Okay. And where do you see this going? Paint a picture for me. What's the goal?
I see it being implemented in all schools across Jamaica, and to be collaborating with the Ministry of Education, all organizations, that child safety organizations that could come on board and to collaborate and to let it reach somewhere further.
Powerful. Wow, Princess, thank you so much for making the Campus Connection here inside our honor roll feature. You are indeed wonderful inspiration to many. I'm sure a lot of persons who are listening, who are watching right now, they are impressed, if you will. And I am making a special appeal over the airwaves, even now, to even the Ministry of Education to get on board with this initiative. I believe it's a very powerful one. The Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative, right? Literally putting a little power in the children's hands. I love that. I absolutely love that. And
Thank you.
Princess, I wish you all the very best for this initiative and others, etc.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. That's that's the Whistle Alert Jamaica initiative, and we just spoke with founder Princess Ford. You know, it's a dedicated children's rights activist group passionate about child safety and education. Always love to highlight our young people who are doing amazing things, not just directly in education, but in life on a whole. It's always absolutely powerful. Just listening to our young people. Princess is only 22 years old, and she is already looking into ways in which she can make Jamaica and the world at large a better place. Such a brilliant idea, and I'm so happy that we would have been able to speak with her to really get an understanding of what the initiative is about. But we're continuing our show. Right now, we are going straight into our I Chose Christ feature. This will be done by Z Roberto, Commonwealth Caribbean.
Is Z Roberto Pasco, and I am a student of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and I am currently studying a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration, majoring in Accounting and Finance Management. My testimony to you is that God has been so good to me. And I remember when I first took took Christ seriously, back all the way in 2013 when I was very, very young, around 8 or 9, thereabouts. And even though I may not know who God really is at the time, I know for a fact that I can trust in Him. And I can definitely say that confidently right now. And my testimony, or my first testimony, is that I could have died in my sleep, you know, many years ago when I was very young. The doctor said, told my mother, I should say, is that I could have died in my sleep because I had a nasal problem. And I still do have that problem, but it's not as bad as before. And so I had to do surgery to remove something from my throat, from the back of my throat, and I'm doing much better today. And another more recent testimony is that I, in January of 2024, so that's last year, I have been in an accident where the only thing I have suffered is, well, I won't say suffered, but the only thing I have received is a injury on my left eyebrow. But besides from that, I give God thanks. So I am imploring you all, whether it be young people or young at heart, whoever you may be, choose God because He can definitely help you through. I chose God, so do you.
Powerful testimony there coming from Z Roberto Pasco from the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. Wow, such a beautiful testimony of God's preservation, God's keeping care, you know, really a kind of God to look out for us even in moments when we don't think we need Him. And if you want to share your testimony with us, you can send your I Chose Christ testimony audio to love101 campus connection at gmail.com. That's love101 campus connection at gmail.com. We are looking forward to hearing from you and, of course, sharing your testimony with the world. So, remember earlier I said we are in the second edition. It's the second part in the series here on Campus Connection. But before we get to that, I want to big up some people in our comments section. I want to big up people like Raymar Finn, Joan Ford, Sonia Brown. Thank you so much for being with us. Remember, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can jump on. And we want you to participate as well in our social media question that we asked earlier. Why should teachers continue in the profession despite the challenges they face? So you can comment your response, or you can send us a WhatsApp message at 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. So we're going straight into our discussion right now, our main segment. We are continuing or staying the course on the topic, staying the course part 2. We have Miss Kadian Gentles, who is a content creator, cultural ambassador, creator of Jamaican Potwa for Beginners, an online course on Udemy, taught in Japan, currently teaches in Jamaica, and teaches English online to people worldwide. We have also Mr. Paul Park, who is a lecturer and guidance counselor at the GC Foster College. He serves as an assistant returning officer, a court-appointed mediator, a justice of the peace, a deacon, and district youth director. Right? So we have some people who know what I'm talking about. You understand? Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to have we're going to continue because, all right, let me say this to our guests. No pressure, but we had an amazing conversation last week, right? So we'll have a amazinger conversation this week. Oh, sound? That sound good?
Yeah.
Good? All right. So last week we basically, I'd want to say we're on the tip of the iceberg, if you will, because this topic we can spend the rest of the season discussing this if we're really honest with ourselves, right? When we're talking about staying the course. But let's take it from this angle. So education is like planting seeds in a garden. Would agree with that?
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sticking with it ensures those seeds grow into something meaningful and fruitful. So staying the course can mean, pushing through the challenges, adapting to change, and staying curious about learning. But the question I want to ask you, using the same analogy of planting the seed, what happens when you are planting the seed, but for some reason, every time you go to bed, some kind of parasite, some kind of, you name it, those things that eat out seeds out of the ground and all of that, comes to literally rob you of the seed, or the seeds rather, that you're planting. What do you do in a situation like that? Kadian, I don't know if you want to start us off, or Paul. I don't know. Who wants to go first?
I'll go because
All right.
Thank you for having me, by the way. Hi, Paul.
Hey there. How you doing?
All right. So I feel like we cannot be deterred, and that is the main reason we have stayed the course, and we are staying the course in the first place, because we are not shaken and we're not moved by the parasites and all the sides and the Hittites and the Jebusites.
Yeah, come on, they're preaching now.
Come on now, you might come kill our seeds, because we have a belief. And for me, my mom used to say, "You're very, very determined and persistent in a little girl."
Wow.
Parents, I am determined. And so as a farmer, farmers go into farming, or anybody who is going into business, right? They go into it because they want to reap the benefit. So you can't just sow and expect that the crop is going to be perfect the first time. You can't sow and expect that, okay, once I'm done, I'm just reaping the benefit. At some point, there will be some form of bugs and stuff that you have to contend with. But how do you
Mm-hmm.
become successful? You stay the course. So though it is that we have those challenges, and of course we will lose some of the crop, we're not going to pretend like it's all peachy perfect. Some of the crop
Mm-hmm.
will be lost. And I mean, if we've done our best, what can we say? We can only do our best. Our best is good enough. And grab on and hold on and nourish and take care of those that remain until the day of harvest.
All right, there's a lot I want to unpack, but we have to go to a break. So don't forget what you're about to say, Paul. I feel like you're ready to, dive in. But stick and stay with us. We'll be right back with more Campus Connection after these messages.
Amitana and human trafficking is everybody's business. Call 1-888-PROTECT to report suspected cases of child trafficking.
The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6 o'clock.
Jamaica, are you ready for a revival fire? Join us April 11 to 13 at Fellowship Tabernacle Kingston for Friday Fires. Fresh fire, 3 days of healing, prophecy, and revival with Apostle Toby and Prophetess Nicola Araimi, Prophet Uriah and Prophetess Nadine Guy. They've ignited London, Dubai, Ireland, and Dallas. Now, Kingston, it's your time. Admission is free. Come expectant, come ready. Fresh fire is here. Follow at Light Jamaica on Instagram for more info. Sponsored by Fellowship Tabernacle, Love 101 FM, Guitar Holdings, and St. Mary's.
Don't let freshness stitch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
We are the campus times. Students and Jamaica pride.
All right, welcome back to Campus Connection. If you're just joining us, we're in our main segment. So you missed quite a bit of the show, but don't worry. We're having quite an informative and thought-provoking conversation. We are continuing our conversation from last week where we spoke about staying the course, right? Generally referring to maintaining a consistent and effective educational approach, curriculum, or teaching method, even in the face of challenges or changes. This evening, we are joined by Kadian Gentles and Paul Park. And before the break, I would have made reference to an analogy, right, of planting the seeds. But while the seeds are planted, we have, parasites coming in and robbing the farmer of the seeds. So, Paul, you were gearing up to put in your 2 cents concerning that. You may now go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you see, farming is a dirty business,
No, this is going to, that's powerful.
You have to
That's powerful.
You have to get your hand dirty, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So while you realize that the bugs and the pests are on your crops, if you don't get involved and try to clean up the thing, then it's just going to get worse and you lose it. And the same thing applies with teaching and with students. You have to be so caring and you have to understand that these students are being taught by you, but they also need your support. So if the pest is the unwanted young man on the road that is looking the little girl, you need to give her advice and show her what is happening if she continue with the relationship. If the pest is gang in the school, you get involved, create some form of social intervention program in the school. What if the pest is the children coming to school hungry? You need to get involved and create a breakfast program. So you have to find creative ways as the teacher to see if you can remedy the situation, because a number of teachers say, boy, that is not my role, that is not my responsibility. I'm hired to teach, I teach, and I go home. But you have to consider that in the long run, these same students will show up at your door 20 years from now with a gun if you don't remedy the situation.
That's powerful. That's absolutely powerful. I love the way in which you tied it right back to teaching. So Kadian, you would have taught overseas, internationally, across the waters, if you will. I know you're back in Jamaica.
Yes.
And I know our listeners, our viewers are probably like, huh? Why would she do such a thing? Right? Kadian, talk to us a little bit about your experience overseas in comparison with your experience now.
All right, so the two cannot be compared. It's like and for a number of reasons. One of which it is the location. It wasn't a Western country per se. Of course, as well, lots of people would know that Japan is known for discipline and order and just having things organized. If there's a pothole in the road this afternoon, by the time you pass, it is fixed the next morning. It's like that. And the school system is no different, of course, with every in every area, wherever we go. Children are the same because children are children, as my mom would say. So you do find one and two that might be a little bit disruptive or, just over the top, energetic, as they would call them. But for the most part, the system, I call it robotic, where once you set something in place, they adhere to it. So the students adhere, the teachers adhere. It's like a straight line. So in that regard, I would say we cannot compare. Also, because I was an assistant language teacher and not necessarily a classroom teacher that's in charge of doing administrative work, as opposed to our system in Jamaica, where the teachers are managers, we are everything, we are sports masters, we are guidance counselors, and so on. Of course, we did a bit of that in Japan, but it was more like showing up, doing the lesson. I taught English as a second language. And so that also was different, because a lot of what I had to do for students to understand me was to just be pleasant and to have gestures. So the language barrier, those things would have made it a little bit different. So, of course, it was a very rewarding experience, very eye-opening. When you travel overseas, you come to love your country more. I don't know about anybody else.
I can imagine.
Though it is that, persons might say we are a developing country and you may have more things available, more resources. You can just go and print as you like and copy as you like and stuff like that. As opposed to, we have the challenges with our resources and stuff in Jamaica. At the end of the day, it just goes to show that, no better than yard. So, yes, I wouldn't compare the two per se. As it concerns discipline, as it concerns methodology, and just lesson, just delivery. Delivery was very, very different. So I don't know how to compare them, to be honest.
I get you. And that is quite interesting, because one would think that teaching is teaching, right? You teach one, you teach all, right? You teach in one space, you've taught everywhere. Paul, based on where you sit, because you're a trained guidance counselor, right? But you work at GC Foster College.
Right.
So I am thinking now you are not with the teenagers per se, but with the young adults. What's that like now on a regular? I see like Paul look one side like him, I say boy. But what's that like? What's that like on campus and
It's
all
quite
that?
different. I've taught at all the levels, and It's quite different at the tertiary institution. You don't have a lot of the cases that you'll find in the primary and high school. But when you do have the cases, they are intense and they are severe. And a lot of time people don't realize that trauma grows with the individual. And when it reached to that point, then you as the counselor need to be prepared to spend enough time to unpack and to also to provide the necessary support that the individual needs. So, and it's not only students, because your guidance counselor also for staff members.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Right,
But
yeah.
so Paul, it leads me to another question. Then, how do you separate Paul, the guidance counselor, from Paul, the Paul, if you will? How do you make that distinction?
And you know,
Is it difficult?
it is a part of my nature. I am not. I didn't choose to come into guidance. I was told to go into guidance. Yeah, and then even before I became a guidance counselor, a number of students were coming to me for counseling, and I used to run them. I said, "Go to your guidance counselor," and they said, "No, you we want." So I, out of fear of not saying the right thing or doing the right thing, I went into counseling to ensure that whatever I was imparting to those students who came to me was the correct thing. And as a result of that, I end up in guidance. But I do not separate my personality from the profession, because my personality enhances what I do. So when you realize you have a personality that allows students to feel comfortable around you and welcoming, then it is easier for you to start the counseling process. So I'm jovial, I'm friendly, I can relate to others. I really a lot of reading to ensure that I keep in touch with the young people's slang and what is current.
Yeah.
So I can contribute to the conversation.
Yes. That's powerful.
So my personality enhances what I do. So I really don't separate it.
So what did you do before guidance and counseling?
I was an electrical teacher.
How you move from electrical to guidance counseling? Like
the whole journey is a miracle.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah,
no, I can imagine.
I can imagine. I was working in a factory, front-end loader, doing a lot of things. And one morning I worked the night shift. I worked the night shift and came off the morning, and I heard the voice of God saying, "Go straight to Mike. Go straight to Mike." No.
Wow.
And it was in September. I went to Mike, I saw students in their uniform, and I said, "Boy, what may I do really?" And I told them that I want to come to Michael. They said there's one slot there. If you pass this test, you get in.
Wow. And
I did food and nutrition in high school. And I got in for the slot for industrial technology. And so the whole 3 years, everybody was saying to me, you can't do the course in 3 years because you have never done it. You don't have the fundamentals. But God carried me through it. And the miracles just keep happening. And so when I started working and students, but I felt the need to be a part of the counseling profession, but I resisted it. So when I went into the high school system, I was given a grade to be a coordinator. And the students keep coming to me. And I ended up doing the course to help them. But as a result of that, a job was given to me before I finished the course.
Wow.
And they held the job for 3 months and said they don't want to give it to nobody else. They're holding the job. And I tried resigning from my old job 3 times, and the principal did not want to take the resignation. Eventually he took it, and then I went into the counseling, and the rest was history. So
wow.
It is
Wow,
more
that's
like a
powerful.
calling. It's more like a calling. I have tried many times to come out of it, but it's not working.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about staying the course, right? And when we talk about staying the course, we're talking about moving from a factory worker to going to Michael to doing electrical to now, doing guidance counseling. That is absolutely powerful. And I mean, Kadian, from leaving Japan with disciplined students, let's call a spade a spade, disciplined
Yes.
students in a robotic environment to come into a dynamic space where you really don't know what's really going to happen. That is really something else. A lot more in store after our final break here inside Campus Connection on the Family Station Love 101.
Me just never did I get through with my work, and me did I get desperate. Till one day me see one ad, but I want somebody for work at a massage parlor. Trust me, the place was nothing like them advertised. From the very first day, I had to be giving much more than massages.
Verify the legitimacy of job advertisements with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the nearest police station, 119 or 888-PROTECT. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Life is on the go. You got this guns with boneless sorry. Nothing is up to go. Perfect, tasty, have it anytime, anywhere. Fuel your body day and night with the taste of healthy fire. No challenge you get by with Brunswick boneless sardines by your side. Just slow down, neither do you. Brunswick boneless sardines are packed with omega-3 and ready to eat right out of the can. Try the hot peppers, the delicious olive oil, or the new spicy fried chili on its own or on a cracker. However you like it. Brunswick boneless sardines. Snacking made easy, snacking made healthy, snacking made...
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
All right, welcome back to Campus Connection, brought to you by Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is power. There was a lot before the break that we had just now. We're having a wonderful conversation with Kadian Gentles and Paul Park, both who are in the education sector in Jamaica. But Kadian was sharing with us how she would have experienced teaching in Japan, right? And how it has affected her, we can say that, right? Whether it's positively or negatively, how it has affected her, how it has molded her into being the person and the teacher who she is today. But Kadian, let's be real. How you stay motivated now that you're back in Jamaica, in this setting? What's the driving factor that gets you up every morning that, hey, I must do this?
Okay, so I'll start off by saying that I had what they call reverse culture shock. Having stepped back into the school system in Jamaica and seeing certain things and seeing the changes since our time, Paul, going to Michael, not just with the students and the system, but also with the level of teaching strategies and the teachers, everything was just a culture shock for me. And how do I stay motivated amidst the challenges? I literally realized that there's a gap, lots of gaps to be filled. And I feel like my calling, my main calling and purpose in life is to impact and to just motivate people. And so that's my driving force, seeing the changes in the students, seeing even teachers being impacted by my own life and the way I operate in the school system. That's my driving force. my motivational, I must tell you that I thought to myself, I'm crazy to be doing this, and I felt like I was going to quit, but I said no, I have some students that are depending on me. And when they come and they write me the letters, and they, they draw my pictures and say, oh, I love you, and when they come and say you're my favorite teacher, those things kind of push me a little bit more to say I'm going to see them through. Even if I'm
Wow.
going to resign, I'm going to make sure that those students who are looking forward to Miss Gentles coming to their classes, looking forward to seeing me on a day-to-day basis, just to, moat me sometimes, as we call it, and stuff like that. That's really my biggest motivation, to see the changes in the students. There's just so much to do, a lot to be done. And as a worker who, as we know, we do it with our might, we do it with our might. So we're not going to stop. And that's really what pushes me every single day to get up, even when I say, because sometimes they said, Miss, you're here. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to come either, but I'm here. So all in this together. All of us are hot, so we need a break. It works, So yeah, that's really and truly the main reason I'm driven to go every single day.
Love that. That is very inspirational. In one sentence though, Kadian, can you talk to that teacher who is about to click send on that resignation letter? It's written already, right? It's already written. What would you say to that teacher in this moment?
Not knowing why the teacher is resigning is
yeah.
It's kind of difficult, because have their genuine concerns and issues.
They do.
In one sentence, remember your why. Remember why you started in the first place, and remember what it is that you have been doing, and look at the positive. Remember your why, and look at the positive effects and impacts that you've had.
That's good. That's a good one right there. Paul, I want you now to talk to that student teacher, right? At Michael, at Churches Teachers College, at Sam Sharp. What would you say to them after they're seeing so many things in the news? Teacher shortage, teacher migration, all of that. What would you say to that young teacher who is wondering if, at GC Foster College, if I should continue in this profession?
You're a nation builder, and there is no other job that will afford you the opportunity to impact thousands of lives. I can speak on my own life. I left high school unable to read and write and without a subject.
Whoa.
And there was a teacher there who just fell in love with me, and she went to the principal and requested that I come back.
Wow.
And I went back, and she took me in her arms, and she just started to nurture and to mold me. And remember, I had graduated from the school. And the teacher said to me, what do you do? What do you love? And I said, I can cook. And she said, all right, I have a little cooking business. And she started taking me everywhere. And that built my self-esteem. It built my self-esteem. And now when I'm in the tertiary system, imparting knowledge to the students, I make it my point of duty to let them know that you're not only going to teach curriculum, you're teaching the hidden curriculum, you're imparting the moral values and attitude. And you also need to rescue that one person who has nobody else to turn to. And I'm sure Kadian had a number of those in her life. You will be the superstar, the Superman for that one individual. And if you can rescue one, you will impact the nation in a positive way. So as you go into teaching, remember, Christ is looking to you to help those students who feel like they're unloved, who feel as if they're trash. They cannot become anything, because that is what I was told by principals and teachers. You understand? But I had that one teacher, and to this day I communicate with her, and every minute me remind her that she saved me. God used her to save me. So
Wow,
you
wow.
find students, they're slipping through the cracks. They're slipping through the cracks, and nobody is noticing them. But you can find them, and you can bring them back to a state where they feel within themselves that I am worth living. Right? So stay the course, man. Stay the course.
Stay the course. And that's the message we want to really leave with our, not just our teachers, but our students, our parents, our guardians, everyone who is involved in this. We're all in this together. Even us as Campus Connection, we may not be directly in the education system, but we're involved in this by virtue of what we do on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. We are really so grateful that you would have shared. I am inspired personally. I mean, Kadian, your drive is so inspiring. Paul, your ability to adapt, to different situations and conditions is just amazing. Because who would have thought a factory worker would now be a guidance counselor at a tertiary institution? That is mind blowing, to say the least. So thank you so much for being a part of the family station inside Campus Connection this evening, and all the very best for the future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
And
you.
thanks to Love 101.
All right, all right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay in the course. Stay in the course, part 2. That was Kadian Gentles and Paul Park. They shared about their teaching journey. Powerful, powerful, powerful stories there. Just want to bring out some comments that I'm seeing here. We have this WhatsApp message from Joan Dawkins in the USA. Campus Connection, I can identify with Kadian. I was a paraprofessional teacher for years, teaching 3 to 5 years old. But after a few months with them and seeing their transformation, it was encouraging to go on. Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. And we have some persons bigging up. Well, let me big them up. So Tisha Watson rather, Gladys Simmons. Want to thank Sonia Brown, Erica Bennett, Christopher Powell. Thank you so much for being a part of our online viewer or viewers family this evening. We want to also remind you of Michael Week, April 7 to 11. That's happening right now, actually. Yeah, so we want you to get involved as much as possible. Parents, please come on board and see how best you can help your child to be a part of the Michael University College. They have a lot of interesting activities like Research Spotlight, Sports Day, Student Awards, the Glenn Owen Lecture, Founders Day, Thanksgiving Service, etc. So you don't want to miss out on that. What an amazing show this has been. Thank you so much for being here with me, for vibing with me throughout this hour. I'm really so grateful that you would have seen it fit to be a part of Campus Connection this evening. And I want to welcome you to stay with us, for as long as possible. Next week, we have pre-exam praise, Connect and Study with Jesus, the 5th edition. So you want to be a part of that. We want to thank our team, Dr. Nadine Blair, Jermaine Johnson, Shania Smith, Daniel Cox, and David Sutton, Eden Palmer, Ruth Lawrence, Camille Lawrence, and Raquel Robertson. Thank you so much for being a part of the Campus Connection team and the amazing work that you do behind the scenes. As I always tell you, listeners and viewers, you see and hear myself and Anesta from time to time, but it's really the team. The team is doing a lot behind the scenes to ensure that we do what we need to do. So we are very grateful for them. That's it for this week's show. Campus Connection was brought to you by Heart NSTA Trust. Skill is power. See you next week as we explore more things while going on campus. I am Jonathan Fletcher. Have a good evening.
take Cape City and Girls Math and English exams in only 6 to 12 months at Distinction College. Start online and face-to-face classes in May and sit exams in January or May, June of next year. In math, English, chemistry, biology, IT, start international course in practical, geriatric, and pediatric nursing, phlebotomy, plumbing, early childhood education, and more. Register this week and win yourself a course or subjects for free. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Ocherius, and St. Elizabeth. Call us at 356-4167.